Hello everybody, welcome to Modi's English class, and today's our topic is a prose chapter, Standing Up for Yourself, Unit 3rd. And unit 1 highlights what? Unit 1 highlights the writer's childhood. Unit 2 highlights the negative character Red. Red, as a boy of 16, was very dangerous. He was harmful to other people. Now, Unit 3rd, we are reading, let us see the warm-up. Does the narrator have an encounter with Red? So, Unit 3rd highlights the narrator's or the writer's encounter, means meeting with Red. How many times did he come across Red? How many times did he come across Red? What was the outcome of his encounters with Red? So, here we get all the details regarding the fighting, regarding the encounter, and how he was preparing to face Red, an evil person, a man of 16, a boy of 16, but very strong, built up, very powerful boy. So now I just start the paragraph, first paragraph. I wanted to conquer my fear of Red. What was the problem of the writer? The problem of the writer was that he was fearful of Red. Writer was fearful of Red. So I wrote a poem about him. So the writer wrote a poem to drive away the fear. This was my first piece of journalism in verse. What do you mean by verse? Poetry. Verse means poetry. So writer wrote the first poem on Red. By the next day, the whole street knew it by heart and exulted with triumphant hatred. The next day, all the people of the street enjoyed this poem. Why? This poem highlights the negative qualities of Red. Everybody read the poem, enjoyed, and they were in a triumphant mood. And how triumphant? That particular word given, this is the word, heart, and exalted with triumphant hatred. Triumphant means victorious. Hatred means hate. So the people enjoyed the poem having hatred towards Red. One morning, on my way to school, I suddenly came upon Red and his lieutenants. All of a sudden, the writer faced Red with his followers. His eyes seemed to bore through me. His eyes were constantly fixed towards the writer. The poet, this is the criticizing words of Red towards the writer. The poet, he drawled, smiling crookedly. So, you write verses. Do they rhyme? These are the criticizing words used by Red towards the writer. What are the words? Smiling crookedly, you are smiling. And what are the words? So, you write verses. He was telling to the narrator, you write poems, you write verses. Do they rhyme? What do you mean by rhyme? I told you there is music in the poem, that is known as rhyme scheme. Red's hand darted into his pocket and came out armed with its knuckle duster. In Unit 2, I told you Red always carried a knuckle duster with him. It flashed like lightning. All of a sudden, he was in the mood of attacking the narrator, attacking the writer, and struck my head. All of a sudden, he got the knuckle duster, put his hand in his pocket, and suddenly attacked the writer. I fell down, streaming with blood, and lost consciousness. The writer lost consciousness, and he was bleeding on the street. This was my first encounter. This was my first remuneration as a poet. The writer said, I got the prize for writing the first poem on Red. What is the prize? He was knocked down. He was bleeding. He was knocked down. He was bleeding. He was heavily beaten by Red. This is the prize he got for writing the poem. This was my first remuneration as a poet. Prize as a poet. I spent several days in bed. He had to remain in bed for several days. When I went out, with my head still bandaged, I again saw red. Second time, when the writer was moving on the street with the head still bandaged, he saw red again. I struggled with myself but lost and took to my heels. He could not face red. He returned back to his room. He returned back to his room because he did not have the courage to face red. At home, I rolled on my bed, biting my pillow and pounding it in shame and impotent fury. Impotent means powerless. Potent means powerful. Fury means anger. So he was angry on himself. He was scolding himself. Why? Because he did not face red second time. Impotent fury at my cowardice. He was calling himself as a coward. He was scolding himself for his coward nature, cowardice. I made up my mind, decided, promised to vanquish. Vanquish means drive away, to vanish, to vanquish it at whatever cost. He tried, he promised that he had to face red again. He returned back to his room, but he had promised that he would face red again. So this is all about Unit 3. Thanks a lot for watching this. In my next video, I am going to give you Unit 4. Thanks. Thank you for watching.